Welcome back to Truetee Lifestyle Show, and I'm your host, T Money. On this episode, I'm going to be talking about something I find very exciting to discuss, which is owning a pet. Why did I decide to do this episode? My children has been going in about owning a pet, and I felt like the best way to figure this out is to speak to someone or do our research, like I always advise. And so we graciously found someone who's willing to talk to us about owning a pet. Stay tuned. Oh yes, so like I promised, I've got Mr. Chris, my neighbour, who's graciously decided to talk to us about owning a pet. Welcome, Chris.
Hello.
And yes, I've got a few questions for Chris. And my first question is why did you decide to go for a pet?
Well, I'll take this off while I'm talking. So our daughter has been pestering us for years. She's 13 now, but she's been pestering since she was like 4 years old. I want a dog, when can we get a dog? And I think that's fairly common, for kids to do that. So it was always in the back of our heads that we knew she wanted one. And I grew up with dogs, so I've had them all my life as well. And my wife was the same, she had a dog when she was younger. So we always wanted to get one, but the situation was never right. For example, we were renting a house which didn't allow pets, and then there wasn't a very big house, there was no garden, so it was never really the right time. And then when we moved to where we moved to, it's a much bigger garden, and with lockdown and everything, we were now working from home, so it was much better time for us, and we decided we wanted one. And I think that's really important, that the adults have to decide they want one. It's not the kids' decision. Yeah, the adults have to decide.
And so, Chris, so the second question I've got for you, what is there any advantage of owning a dog?
He's amazing. He's so loving, and there's no better feeling than coming home at the end of the day or after you've been out and having something so excited to see you. So the amount of love that he gives is, it's the top advantage for me. And on top of that is the amount of exercise we're now doing that we weren't doing before, because he needs walking twice a day. Because where we live in a very we live in the middle of a nature reserve, really. So there's lakes that we can walk around, and there's lots of trails we can take him on. So yeah, we make sure we get out of the house at least twice a day, all of us, to take him for a walk.
So the dog is not only a pet, but is an excuse for you to take a walk. Okay, I don't want my kids to see this, because then they're going to say, definitely we need to get a dog. But however, stay tuned for the next question. Like I've always said, everything that has a disadvantage has an advantage, and vice versa. So I'm going to ask Chris, is there any issues you've encountered, or like planned and unplanned, owning this pet?
Okay, so yeah, planned issues. We knew, for example, that he would be expensive, so we knew that he needed food, he needed insurance, that there'd be vet bills, so we kind of knew all of that stuff was coming, so we planned for that accordingly. And I think that's really important as well, is if you are thinking about getting a dog, making sure you've budgeted for the dog as much as you would any other, any other expense in your life. So yeah, there's that. He's been quite expensive at the vets because he eats stuff he shouldn't eat. So
did you hear that?
He eats everything. So we have to go and get him fixed up when he does that. And then there's the things that you don't really think about, like he's dug the garden up, and we've got holes in the lawn now where we didn't want holes. So that's nice of him to do that, and that's the sort of stuff that you kind of expect maybe a dog will do. But he didn't do it when he was a puppy. When he was little, he didn't dig the garden, and just out of nowhere he started doing it. So yeah, that's a couple of things. He steals stuff. He's good at stealing socks and slippers disappear. You can't go to put your slippers on and there's only one slipper on the floor. And you're like, and you have had to go on a hunt around the house to find the other one, but yeah, there's nothing major.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much for that, because my kids are not stop talking about, Mom, we need to have a pet, we need to have a pet. However, I'm so excited we're doing this so I can show them. Are you ready for this? Are you seriously ready for this? Stay tuned for the next question. And this is my final question to Chris. So Chris, is there any advice you could give to family, be the adults and the children, who wants to own a pet, or especially a pet like a dog?
Sure. So for the kids, I would say you have to understand that dogs are great. They really are great. However, they are a commitment. You know, if they wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning because they want to play, you can't just roll over and go back to sleep and tell them to go away, because it doesn't work like that. So you do have to walk them twice a day, feed them twice a day, pick up after them. You know, it's not just those times as well. During the day, they have to be entertained. You've got to make sure they're not bored, because then they get distracted. And so for the kids, you've got to understand that it really is a big impact on your life.
That's essentially having another child.
It is exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is. You know, we've found that he's had more of an impact on our life than anything we've experienced in the last few years. So again, it's totally worth it, but you've got to make sure, because it's not like something you can try and then give back. You know, you can't get it for a few weeks and go.
Once you have it, you can't give it back.
No, it's not fair on the dog. You know, the dog doesn't know that you're just trialing it. It's, you know, it thinks you're its new home and you're its new family. So it's not fair to give it back afterwards. And then to the adults, the biggest piece of advice I can give you is don't do it for the kids. Do not do it for your children. You have to be the ones that want this dog, because we wanted the dog. You know, my wife and I, we wanted one for a long time, like I said earlier, and that's the reason we got him. And I'm pleased that we did, because we're the ones that have ended up doing all the work for him. But that's what we knew was going to happen. So yeah, do it for yourselves. Don't do it for your children.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us in Truetee Lifestyle Show, and stay tuned. Until I see you again next time, stay tuned and God bless. Oh, good boy. Can I touch it? Oh, my goodness.
Like, if you want to eat that soft and chicken,
yeah.
you'll have them off here.
And what is it?
Rags.
Rags. Oh, I like that.
Short for Ragnar. Which was his name when we got to we prefer Rags.
Thank you once again for joining me. I hope you found this very useful, as I did. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, and share. Till I see you on my next episode, please stay tuned, stay safe, and God bless.